Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Seer 365 session. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are joined by Data Courage. As always, with the Seer 365 session, if you have any questions during the session or you're watching this on demand, please feel free to put any questions or comments in the chat below. We'll also have links and ways of getting in contact with Data Courage if you'd like to find out more, either specific to your situation or go more in depth into what they do. Data Courage have had an absolutely fantastic month with some significant milestones at Microsoft events. I'm joined by Camille and Ryan. Camille is Data Courage's CEO, and Ryan has the very enviable title of Director of Data and AI for North America. Camille, why don't you tell us a little bit about Summit and directions and what's been going on?
Yeah, welcome everyone. I think Summit is the one that I had to miss this year because of the event that was just happening afterwards, and what really was the highlight of our presence at Directions was the keynote, and everything else being a gold sponsor. So I'm going to turn it back to turn it over to Ryan, who was there on the floor.
Yeah, no, Summit was a wonderful time. This year was in Orlando, and we had just a perfect location, and our booth was busy nonstop. It was great. A lot of people to get to meet and to showcase the amazing tools that we've got here at Data Courage. It was truly an experience that there was no downtime at our booth. Expo floors can sometimes take a long day, right? And a long day can go a long time, but it was so busy that the days seemed to go by so super quick. And it was a lot of great feedback and a lot of great partnerships and friendships coming out of it. And I think that's the key piece of it. So, yeah. Orlando's always beautiful, nice and warm, and then I get to come home to cold northern weather.
Excellent to hear. And Camille, you were the keynote at Directions?
Yeah. Speaking of the cold weather, Ryan, I'm actually in the same position as you are now because it's getting colder and colder. You were lucky when you came over to Poznan.
Yeah, it was a little reprieve. Yeah,
it was the golden autumn, beautiful leaves and everything else. But yes, we had the keynote. I had an amazing experience there at the keynote. We were, briefly talking about the stress and everything that comes along with trying to be in front of your peers. 3,000 people, and these are not just people; these are the community. This is the people that you work with for the last 18 years. So this has been amazing experience for me. I think the highlight of it was the definition of how we see, or how we would like to see how the AI strategy can be built with the tools that we have at hand, that we propose, how Business Central can be equipped with something that can that exposes data in such a different way, right? So from the question to an answer, and kind of diving deeper, and the system is actually is your friend in kind of getting this data out and giving you the insights. Yeah, that the beauty of inference happens, and that is the biggest, I would say, achievement of the artificial intelligence at the moment, is the speed at which it gathers different components of our world. We know it from the tools like Copilot and chats and everything else, and what gets the creation into a totally different level. So that was amazing. The keynote was amazing. Then we had an ISV session led again by Ryan and Tristan, and that was also great. I think the keynote brought us somewhere about 500 people for our ISV session, which is for us it was unheard of. It was not something that happened to us prior, and I think that because of the way we've actually approached this story, with the tools, with the actual components that you can plug into Business Central. And what I'm still seeing is that at the moment, Business Central is equipped with tools like this, is really redefining this space of data exploration, I would say.
Indeed.
Just on that note, I mean, obviously anyone using Guide 365 is kind of aware of what you guys do at Data Courage. Hopefully anyone at Directions EMEA will now be familiar as well. But you mentioned sort of the story that you were looking to tell. Could you maybe expand a little bit on that?
Sure.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know if you want, Ryan, you can take it, or
Sure.
I can. Yeah.
I think the key thing came from the keynote, right? And we're really selling the idea of like, what's your AI strategy, right? And when you talk about this to a lot of folks, there isn't one. And if there isn't one, then you're letting your team decide whatever they want to do to use, right? Gone are the days that we can assume that no one's going to use it and we're perfectly safe. No, if you're not providing an AI solution to your team or your clients, right, then they're going to find out one that works for them, and oftentimes that's not a secure path, right? Especially if there's no strategy. It's a wild west at that point. And so that's one of the key things that we wanted to make sure people were thinking about, right? And so while Microsoft's bringing some neat functionality into Business Central directly, the amount of insights that our tools are bringing to the table surpass that greatly. And I think that's the key thing is if you can supply your team tools and insights that they haven't previously had, with a built-in tool such as Data Courage's apps, then they're not going to want to go elsewhere to find those answers, right? And Camille, I think you kind of laid the stage for the strategy. I don't know if you recall the sentence, the Power AI sentence that you've got, but that's a winner.
Oh,
I think.
yeah. So we basically used AI to create AI apps, to develop the AI strategy based on the customer's data, which is just when I think about it, what we created and that we actually succeeded. And when I saw this first time, when you plug it into a database, when you plug it into a customer's database, and that simple question, it's not a simple question, right? Define an AI strategy. What are my pain points? How to address them with AI? You dig deeper, you ask those questions in natural language, and you're actually telling the system, go and find me where I should apply my AI strategy. Because what is the AI strategy? Just like with any other technology, we want to do things faster, quicker, more efficiently. It's all about the profit and the cost, right? So how can I address additional markets? And if we're going to focus on data and we have the data at hand, and Business Central is the best place to actually get this data, because we've got all the financial information, a lot of the operational stuff, and we can actually ask the system to bring it all together and define this and just create an AI strategy based on that data within a secure environment of the whole Microsoft stack. That is really the power of AI as we can see it. And I demoed it to multiple CFOs. I demoed it to the partners, but also the CFOs of the actual companies. And they said this is some of them called it a holy grail of the next of this generation, because it's unheard of when you think that it has that power. And of course, there's a lot of work that is going to come from that, right? Because it's very relevant that there are issues with every company, right? I would love to find the one that doesn't have any problems. I've heard a sentence that The only company that doesn't have problems doesn't have customers and employees, right? So, so if you think about that, I don't think we have any of those companies at hand, and there's a lot of processes that you can actually optimize. But which ones to prioritize as first ones? That is what AI can help you with, the help of AI Financial Intelligence for Business Central. So, yeah.
One of the tools that we were kind of showcasing in these two conferences too, with both Summit and Directions EMEA, was our latest Chief Accountant Assistant. And for folks that have seen the Data Courage apps before, a lot of them are strategic that help you kind of place things in the right places and react or pre-act, if you will, before things go bad. But with Chief Accountant Assistant, there's a little bit of a different switch there, right, Camille? This is kind of more operational based
on the functional, on the operational side of things. Yeah, because and this has a really interesting caveat to it. What we're seeing is the adoption of it is fast, is growing rapidly, of this tool, because it's, I would say, it's not, the high skies and something that CFO or CEO would like to do, but also on the operational side, we want to be we want to be better. We want to address certain things better, and without the tools like this, it basically takes longer, right? And we don't want to spend a lot of time on searching for those answers that we require, right? Require as in, because we're talking about, one of the processes that we're optimizing with this tool, the Chief Accountant Assistant, is the month closing, right? So you're closing the month with specific tasks. So you're installing Chief Accountant Assistant, it runs, and then you can define your own, in the plain language, you can define your own tasks to be able to find the story behind the data. So you're looking at books audits. You're auditing your books. You're checking whether something went wrong in the system. You want to see the imbalanced accounts. You want to see the whatever the question that you can think of that can have an yes or no answer is going to be answered within the system. and once it does that, you can actually ask it to justify the answer, right? Why did you check it as a yes or no, right? And you can actually do that. And here what we're seeing is, you're going through those different checklists every month, and everyone has that on the side, somewhere in Excel, somewhere in SharePoint, and it's disconnected. Whereas this, it actually lives in the system, and you can verify those things, and very quickly you've got the notifications in your emails, depending on the tasks and so on. So that is really what we're bringing, and this is actually something that we have seen a lot of adoption of, because we know that we are touching something that everyone has, right? So everyone has a problem with a month closing. Everyone is doing this on the side. But apart from the month closing, because it's very easy to understand and apprehend that procedure, but you can use it for many other things, right? And those many other things are defined by our users, by our customers, by the customers of our partners. And they're seeing the value more and more, because they can actually interact with the system in a totally different way, something that you would not even think about in 3 years ago or something, right?
That's
so
right.
That's pretty cool.
I heard a quote at Summit that has stuck with me, and I've used a couple of times since. But every accountant has end of month trauma. And chief accountant assistant solves that, right? Basically, with any kind of account or account range, and then natural language to tell it what you want it to search for. So, do we post all of our exchange documents? Do I have an invoice posted for each of my payables? All these kind of things can be asked of the system, and it streamlines the end of month. Another great use case is audits, right? You mentioned that it can send you the email, but with the audits, one of the common things you need to do is prove what things you checked and how frequently you checked it. And you can automate all of those steps, have it send you an email out there's your evidence, and your audits can be a thing of the past, right? It can just be a matter of just like sending them the automated emails. So not only is it saving you time, but it's saving you headaches, right?
And another use case that I heard from one of the partners was that let's check it every day if something wasn't posted in the right way, right? So because you don't want to check and have the burden of checking this at the end of the month when everything gets you pile a lot of stuff in the end of the month, and you don't want to spend so much time on actually checking and redoing something. So when something happens, let's trigger that and see whether a certain document or something has not been posted correctly. And we know that this is a burden. This is something that happens because you've got new accountants, you've got people, you've got a rotation, and it's hard to even with a proper training that is obviously done, not everything is being. We're humans, right? So let's have AI help us with some of that, right?
Imagine being ahead of some of those problems the day that it happened, rather than finding it out at month close or quarter close, right?
Exactly.
Way ahead of the game at that point.
I've known some organizations where their month-end close, by the time they're finished, it takes them 2 weeks in some instances. They're having to prep and kick off the next month-end close, and they just can't get out from underneath the basic business processes that they need just to kind of keep managing day to day.
Believe me, Rufus, over the years of working with those companies on the data problems, that was one of there were many of those companies that had this burden, that had the problem of actually closing the month on the 20th and actually preparing for the next month and closing the next one, right? So yes, it is hence the use case, I guess, right? And that's the creativity, that's the part of our experience that we're putting into it, because the closer you are to data, or the closer you are to the Business Central processes, the more you listen to your users, to the people that actually can give you feedback and ideas of what they need or what they try to solve. And this is what we're here for. And everyone in the community is there to actually help them succeed and move them forward, right, in the right direction.
And I think the chief accountant assistant is a great example of practical AI. As you mentioned, it can sometimes seem like just too much of a change to kind of do all in one go, but this is a nice specific use case that a partner can deliver into all of their existing accounts and even net new clients to win new business. I mean, Camille and Ryan, are there any kind of messages or things that you would want channel partners to be on the lookout for in terms of when should they be having that AI discussion with customers?
If you're not already having those discussions, I would say today or tomorrow, right? Because that was one of the core concepts I brought in the ISV session, is that if you're not going to be your client's AI partner, somebody else will be. Companies are looking to AI right now in a big way because of the time savings that it can offer, but also the productivity increase that it can bring. And this is one of those examples where the productivity increase is immense. And so that, I would say that, right, if you're not already talking to them, you should already be talking to them.
And I think that the financial intelligence, or even a chief accountant assistant, we've developed the Data Courage AI website with AI. You've got plenty of examples of how you can actually address certain issues with some of those apps. Sometimes it's showcasing the palette of those different solutions. That's why we designed some of them, just to open up the conversation, right? Just to showcase, listen, this is what you can have from day one. Let's see where this is going to take you, because in my mind, Data Courage and the whole company, we are striving to give customers potential to be better and to address some of those issues earlier. Giving you an example of a customer journey that we had just 2 weeks back, I guess, there was a conversation where they didn't decide to implement customer intelligence. And it was a year ago.
Mhm.
And now we had a discussion that it actually should happen. They should actually implement it and start using it, because they started churning a lot of the customers, right? They didn't know why this happens, because they didn't have the tool, and there was, it was just business as usual. They thought that the churn is not happening, and yes, they were acquiring new customers, but they were different in terms of the size of the business. And then you had the churn of the bigger accounts, for example. If you don't monitor this, even if it's not perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to give you some insight about where you are, where you stand. Believe it or not, well, we're a data company, so every Monday morning I get, all sorts of different triggers as to what is happening with pretty much every one of our customers, that maybe we might be having some problems that we are not seeing. And those KPIs, everything that is inside of customer intelligence, actually allows us to monitor this automatically and closely. It's much less of a burden for me, because that flows down. And for our customers that are using these tools actively, I know that we're solving those different problems for them. So I think, get on the journey as quickly as you can. And as you said, Ryan, the time is now, because if it's not happening with you, it's probably somewhere else, right? It's probably happening somewhere else. So it's not about the money. It's not about the potential of getting this, but really from pure, I would say, um, customer service. We want to help them, and I think that this is one of the pathways to interact with your customers and say, just ask your question, ask the question. You don't even have to show it as an answer to your partner. Just show them the prompt, what they should ask to the system, and showcase how, for example, financial intelligence is going to showcase what is happening, right? Some of those things might be very evident for the CFOs and CEOs, but some of those are hidden in the data, and they would not even maybe think that there is a problem, right? And I think that surfaces that, and so it opens up a lot. We had at the keynote 3 courageous partners, as we called them, and we gave the awards to them. And I think they also saw that there is this element. When you start, you're not missing out. You're being at the table when this happens, right? You are the ones that actually brought this to their attention, so you are being seen as someone who is on the edge of AI. It's inside of Business Central. Maybe it's not doing everything they want, but you are at the table when the AI conversation happens. And that is really the most important, I think, message for everyone.
Excellent. Nice. Thanks, Camille. We've got a few minutes left, so if there are any questions, please do feel free to put them in the chat. If you're watching in demand as well, please feel free to comment, and we'll get a notification and someone will be in touch to help. Just while we're potentially waiting for that to come through, Camille, Ryan, what are you most excited for in the year, 2 years ahead? What are Data Courage's focuses?
What we've seen at Directions, apart from the logo, that is a really interesting story, I guess, behind the logo. And I think that this actually connected us to the second day. So after my part of the keynote, where Microsoft took stage, the revelation that is going to come in with the ARC area, I think that this is going to be a massive breakthrough, and I cannot wait to actually put my hands on it and put our hands on it, because we're going to be expanding what we do currently with it. It's exciting what's coming. I didn't even expect that it's going to happen as quickly as it did. I have seen it in other platforms, in other things, but taking this into the Business Central area, I think it's going to be a massive the massive effect on the channel, on how we work, on how different people work in the organization, developers, consultants. The consultant can be partially the creator of the solution. The customer will also interact with this as well. So there is a massive change that is going to spin from that. And of course, there are guardrails that obviously, like everything else, right? Security, everything else that, before you deploy vibe coded app, don't do it on production. Yeah, do it in a secure manner. So things like that. But I'm really excited for this, to be honest.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's a great way of saying it. There's a lot of neat things that are on the horizon as well, from both from Data Courage and from Microsoft, and I think that's to be seen in many cases, right? But even just what we're bringing, what they're seeing in Fabric, and how we were able to bring AI elements into data warehousing and into Power BI reports and stuff like that. It's a really neat area that is expanding quickly, and I think that's a great front-facing area that people will see commonly too, right? And so, even with our customer intelligence and our strategic apps, if you will, those come with some Power BI reports as well, and it's just neat to see Microsoft investing in that arena.
Yeah, exactly. And the Fabric story and the Purview story and how we collated together. It's, we could probably take another hour.
Yeah, there's lots to expand on. Yeah, exactly. So where to pick.
Excellent. Well, thank you, gentlemen. It has been a genuine pleasure. It's always a pleasure to host Data Courage. Fantastic solution and incredibly powerful. And as Camille and Ryan alluded to earlier, very, very quick to demo. And can be very, very effective. Make sure that your customers know and understand their data and what it means for the rest of the business as well. All that remains is for us to say thank you and bid you a great rest of the day.
Thank you all. Thank you for having us, Rufus and Seer team. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rufus, and thanks everyone for joining.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.